Hey review family, keep it time. My name is J Morris Review Guy, and I'm back again to bring you another video, and in this one I'm going to be covering the new Xiu Xiu album. Girl with Basket of Fruit. Xiu Xiu, the prolific experimental rock and noise pop band formed in 2002 by Jamie Stewart, which I should actually point out is the only member that is still around in the band from the original lineup. Known for their poetic, borderline spoken word bits over roaring noise pop instrumentation and extremely experimental, progressive, and forward-thinking ideas in their music. I mean, find me another band that literally covered the entire soundtrack from Twin Peaks, and I will shut up. Back when I heard the single leading up to this album, SCISSSSSSSSSSSORS, it has that many S's, trust me. I was excited for this album, but I was a bit apprehensive for a band that is this prolific and this specific in its genre. Being very idiosyncratic, I was like, are they going to be able to pull this off? Woo! They turned the dial up to 10. This album is good. Imagine Daughter's album last year, You Won't Get What You Want, but the dial turned down from 10 to about an 8 on this album, and being a little bit more comprehensible all in all. The spoken word returns on this album, and it reminds me kind of Lulu. Anyone remember that really crappy Metallica crossover with Lou Reed? Lulu. Yeah, that album's pretty infamous for being really polarizing and for the most part, agreeably really bad, but this album does it right. The lyrics are poetic, the lyrics are cynical, the lyrics are just brutal at times, the lyrics are sometimes indiscernible, and sometimes they're genuinely gut-bustingly funny. It astonishes me that after releasing so much music, they're still able to stay fresh and they're still able to stay new with a sound, like I said before, that is very idiosyncratic. And I know for a genre that literally has noise in the title, and a genre that literally has experimental in the title. I know you shouldn't say this, but this album's pretty catchy. Some genuinely catchy synth melodies on this album, some genuinely crunchy and nice bass. And some of the vocal melodies are hard to explain, but really easy to follow. Especially with the layered lyrics on this. And some of Jamie's just rip snarl screams when it's just either super bass boosted, or reverbed, or both, and he's just like... Right off the bat, Girl with a Fruit Basket, the first track, the self-titled track, is absolutely astonishingly crazy. It's weird, it's funky, it's like weird, it's sadistic, it's amazing. Nah, memes aside, this starts off really well. It has a nice, noisy, synthy introduction, and Jamie just giving these spoken word bits that are so strange, but this is one of the funniest tracks on the album. I don't think it's supposed to be. It comes out as a joke. He is just screaming his brains out at times, but he's also creepy, and the instrumentation is super foreboding. It is chilling. It is super chilling. Just walls of noise pop and experimental bliss coming through in the background like a haze, like fog, coating this whole song. AMARGI, if I am pronouncing that correctly, starts off with this beautiful string arrangement that gives way to noise again, and it is super weird throughout this entire track. One of the weirdest tracks, but super standout because of that weirdness. The admirability of this album and how formidable of a release it is really comes through with how abstract of an idea and lyricist Jamie is on this album, and the way he's delivering this almost poem thing in this shivering tone, like he is just in an alleyway, just rocking back and forth with eyeballs bulging out of his head, going insane. Pumpkin Attack on Mommy and Daddy, 5 minutes and 1 second. Probably my favorite track on the album. The strange, just electronics that are spiraling all across this track, and the way these vocals get repeated like a vortex. It is earwormy and catchy, even though it is super strange and abstract. I already talked about SCISSSSSSSSSSSORS a little bit, but this track is insane. It's crazy. It's like, sounds like the Psycho soundtrack when it's... I feel like I'm being sucked into a black hole by sound. Forget, which was their 2017 album, was formidable. It was a little bit more accessible, but on this album, this 37-minute album, they go all out. I don't know if I'm in the minority for this. I don't watch or listen to or check out reviews before I release mine, but this album is great. fans of art rock and art pop and experimental rock and noise rock. There are so many genres that they dabble in on this album that it's impossible to nail them down to one genre except experimental music. If you like Daughter's album last year, which was a super critically acclaimed album, if you like any of the genres that I mentioned, I highly suggest checking this album out. This album is an experience. It's an experience that I feel like you need to experience. I can already say this is going to be one of my favorite, if not my favorite, experimental albums of the year. And it is going to be one of the strangest things that you have heard in a while. I promise you that. It doesn't matter where on the music spectrum you are, this album is whack. Yep. I'm going to be giving this album a 9 out of 10. Is that a wrap? That's a wrap. I'm going to listen to this again. But what did you think? Have you heard this? If you have, you can post in the comment section below, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads, and I'll be talking to you guys next time. But until then, my name is J Morse Review Guy, and I'm signing off saying farewell.